Chapter 13. Case File SIO2. Chapter: Wrath of Art. Art Exhibition. Haya was dreaming. The same old dream. Once he was spat by Vasarat's venom when she was in an enormous, green-scaled serpent form. Vasarat's last breath, and the last wish from his angel of death, still looped beside his ears. Haya was startled awake as he sprang upright in a sitting position, sweat soaking up his body, causing his teeth to stick to his back. The breath was so vigorous, while both eyes flew open, and the hands stretched out forward as if he was trying to reach out for something. Haya lowered his hands. His eyes wandered to explore the surroundings. After he realized that this was his own room, he sighed, then stroked his sweat-soaking face to regain consciousness. Dream. After seeing himself in his past life, he might carry those memories to his sleep. Because of yourself, you wished for it, Master Paya, before you were reborn to Mr. Chadayu in front of me. Van Riza's voice whipped across his mind. He wished for it? Why did he wish to see his own past? Or was there anything further? 5:05 a.m. Haya peeked at the digital clock, swung his legs out from the bed, and then strode over to grab his wallet and car keys. From his house to Tarn's condo might take around half an hour, so he should have time to cook breakfast for the other person. He couldn't help it. This time, he was totally the one to blame. Tarn's condo. Hmm. Roasted red pork Chinese bun. So yummy. Scrumptious. Nom nom. Tarn was sinking into a sweet dream about having Chinese buns at Yaowarat. And besides Chinese buns, there were loads of other foods surrounding him. What a good day today. A whole lot of free food for him. Haha. Ding dong! The eyebrows on the flawless face knitted together. Who the heck got in the meal in the dream at this moment? The slim figure rolled his body to the side, lifting his pillow to cover his ears to block that noise. Still, the doorbell kept ringing. Right, right, got up now. Mood killed. Fell from cloud nine. Tarn lashed his legs out of the bed, scratched his floppy hair, and strode toward the door. Once he saw the tall figure in gray sweatpants and the white t-shirt absent-mindedly standing in front of his door, Tarn furrowed his brow. Haya, on the other hand, devoted to Tarn. The two exchanged their gaze unwaveringly. The former was gazing with doubt, and the latter was gazing with gratitude. It confused Tarn even more. Yesterday, Haya was still mad at him. Today, Haya approached him to make a weird face in front of his room. Was he bipolar? Haya? The other person still fastened his gaze on Tarn's face. Haya! Tarn volumed his voice up a bit, but Haya still fixed his gaze on him without moving any muscle. Thus, Tarn lifted his hand to wave in Haya's side. But the other person held that steady gaze just the same and lowered Tarn's wrist to not cover his sight. What is Paya looking at? Or is there anything behind him? Tarn looked over the shoulder, roaming his eyes briefly, and couldn't see anything out of place. He turned around to look at Paya. What are you looking at? Your staring is scaring me, dude. I. Haya adopted a reluctant expression. His lips moved as if he was going to say something, but he didn't. Instead, he grabbed Tarn's wrist and pulled Tarn into the room. Tarn followed in confusion, but remained conscious enough to close the door with an empty hand. Haya stood still, trying to arrange words, then swooped back to Tarn, who was looking back at him with perplexity. But before Paya could make his apologies, the other person voiced, reaching out to touch him in the forehead. Are you sick? You act sort of weird. I started to worry about you, man. Your eyes drifted and blank. Are you feeling unwell? A melodious voice instantly tinkled in his mind, along with the face of a woman, replica of Tarn. She cloaked herself in a traditional dress like a Sukhothai era lady. That woman was tapping on his forehead just like what Tarn was doing to him now. Paya! This is getting too weird. Tarn shook Paya's body. The other person flinched, looking at Tarn in a daze. Tarn abruptly sat Paya on a couch. Is he on a high? He looks like he is. Paya plunged onto the couch and locked his gaze on Tarn. What was that just now? Who was that woman? Was it Tarn in the past life? Vasarat? No. She dressed like a female in the movie Suryothai that he saw when he was a kid. Why did he see this vision? Or because Tarn touched him the way she did? Kaya! Shit, spaced out again. I called you so many times already. Do you need a megaphone?
Touch me again.
Huh? Kaya gripped Tarn's hand to touch his forehead, but Tarn, who thought there was something very off in his friend's demeanor, withdrew his hand back and beat a hasty retreat. Tell me, are you stoned or something? It couldn't be anything else. Kaya frowned as he took his buddy's panic for granted. Instead, he pondered around what had just happened alone in his head. Once he could rest easy, he faced up to Tarn and answered that question.
I'm not stoned.
You sure? Because you're acting so wacky.
I'm just. Never mind.
To tell you that I met your sister in the past life and time traveled to see your past and mine. He accidentally killed me, but you felt so guilty, so you prayed for me, for you and me, to meet and save my ass. If I told you so, you would surely as hell think I'm nuts. Not to mention that flash vision just now. You'll definitely freak out. Tarn squinted his eyes, looking at Paya and traversing to sit beside him. If you have something in your mind, you can tell me, dude. You look bizarre today. You came to my room, made a dead face like this, eyes like this, and stared at me like this. Tarn imitated Paya's expression. Bonkers. But somehow, I think it's oddly satisfying to see Tarn do it. Push that damn face. So he stopped making such a face and made me think. You bastard Paya! How could you push me?
Stop mocking my face already. I came to you because I really have something in my mind.
Pius said calmly. His eyes then stumbled upon a bunch of his Naruto figure collection sprawling in front of the TV shelf. When he shifted his gaze back to the dude beside him, Tarn was also now in Naruto pajamas. Haya reached out to grab Tarn's sleepwear.
Darn. You're a grown ass man but still wearing cartoon pajamas?
The cop image and his image at the very moment were utterly in contrast. It's it's my personal favor. Don't you know? Naruto is Sasuke's best friend.
You're a cop, pal.
A grown adult like yourself is still fond of these kinds of things. But now I'm just darn. It's not cop o'clock yet. He pointed on the clock on the wall. It wasn't time for work. Haya shook his head as he couldn't believe Tarn's thought. Tarn, on the other hand, didn't want Paya to give a reproaching look at him again. He urged Paya to reveal what was on Paya's mind. So, when will you tell me what's on your mind? To bother him at the break of dawn like this must be something important. Is it about what made Paya mad at him yesterday? Paya looked at Tarn and said in a low voice from his guilt.
About what I did you wrong yesterday.
Tarn felt like slapping his knees in no way, but he managed to restrain himself and continued to ask. Yeah, and what makes you mad at me anyway? Kaya sank into a contemplative state. True that, what should he tell Tarn? If he shared it with Tarn, Tarn would be skeptical of why his P-more knew it. Anyway, it sounded like a good idea actually.
The other day that we had lunch with your Timor, he said that I should see a shrink about my nightmare. Timor said you told him the story, even though you had promised me to tell no one.
Tarn scratched his head. He couldn't remember he told P-more about Pious matter. So, why did P-more grasp the information? Haya gagged at Tarn, catching the other person scrutinizing. A smile slipped from the corner of his mouth. Haya kept on asking.
Did you tell him?
No! How could I? I gave you my word.
How could he know it then?
Haya played dumb on his question, even though he knew it so well. Tarn stroked his chin, thinking. Hmm, I'll go ask this matter to P-more myself. How could P-more find out about it? Or he really slipped his tongue? So, this makes you mad at me because I didn't keep my promise? Haya nodded.
But I feel horrible that I flung at you. I didn't even ask you, but I've already boiled up. I listened to a one-sided story and hurt your feelings.
Word! Tarn nodded in agreement while giving him a menacing look.
That's why I'm here to apologize. After sleeping on it all night,
Haya spoke out in a faded voice. Tarn stretched out to grab Haya's shoulder. If you want to apologize to me, do you really feel the need to see me at this ungodly hour? You pulled me out of my sleep. Can't you just apologize when I go to work? Kaya's voice Kaya voiced his explanation.
I came to see you at this hour because I want to make peace by cooking you some breakfast.
Tarn's eyes twinkled as he scooted over until he bumped into Kaya's shoulder. You've got it to the stage where you cook breakfast for me to make peace? It felt oddly tickling at the heart, but it felt so nice. Kaya avoided looking at Tarn, but rose to his feet and walked over to the kitchen area, asking Tarn in a neutral tone as if it were normal.
Will you eat?
Yeah, said Tarn while bobbing his head frantically with a beam painted across his face. A laugh slipped past Kaya's control. Tarn behaved like a doggy asking for food. If he had a tail, his tail would be rapidly wagging.
Yeah, that's it.
Tarn got up from the couch and asked Kaya, what are you going to cook?
Wait and see.
Kaya explored Tarn's kitchen. Tarn frowned. Why can't he tell? Is it really edible? He craned his head to look,
Sure. What's in your fridge, by the way?
said Kaya while walking up to open the fridge. After finding that he had nothing else but eggs, jam, sausage, and cheese, he turned to look at Tarn. Hehe, nothing. Tarn couldn't cook anyway.
I'll cook from all that I eat that you have then.
Tarn tipped his head in agreement, looking at Paya, picking out the ingredients with curiosity. Seeing Tarn's demeanor like a dog waiting for food, Paya told Tarn to sit on the couch and wait. Tarn grudgingly followed Paya's words, even though this was his own place. While waiting, Tarn picked up the book he hadn't finished to continue reading while both eyes stole a glance at his acting chef. Paya's nimble move was so pleasant to watch that Tarn couldn't continue reading a book in his hand. Feeling someone was watching, Paya lifted his gaze to look at Tarn and raised his brow, questioning if Tarn had anything to say. Tarn flashed a wide beam and flicked his head to refuse, lifting a book to read only to hide his aflame face. Why shy? But that look did cause critical damage. Tarn thought, then resumed his focus on reading a book that P. Moore had given him from where he left off. Kaya carried the breakfast he had prepared to the table. Once he saw Tarn still focused on reading without moving, he snatched the book and held it to himself.
The breakfast is ready to serve to Master Tarn.
Kaya showed a welcoming gesture. Tarn glanced at Paya and tracked the cheese's lovely smell to the food on the table. After seeing what it looked like, Tarn looked at Paya with amazement and applauded. Looks good!
Sure thing.
Paya twisted his eyebrow and made his way to sit on the chair opposite Tarn while carrying Tarn's book onto the table. But let me judge what it tastes like. Tarn squinted his eyes, saying he picked up a knife and a fork to cut on the sandwich that Paya had chopped the sausage into pieces and fried with egg and cheese as a filling. Once Tarn popped it in his mouth and chewed, he instantly raised his thumb to Paya. Yum, good job.
It's good, right?
Tarn nodded. Paya laughed in contentment. Watching Tarn shove up his food so quickly, Paya was afraid that the food would stick in his throat. Paya gave him a caution.
Eat slow or you'll choke.
There, hardly had Paya spoken, he reached for a jar on the table to pour water into a glass and swiftly handed it to Tarn. All good now,
Eat slowly.
Paya repeated. Tarn nodded and kept on munching breakfast. Paya shook his head disdainfully and started to eat his part. They had the meal quietly. It only took a short while to finish their breakfast. Paya saw that Tarn was full and remembered that the carton of milk was left in the fridge. So he got up and poured a glass of it to Tarn. Good service, said Tarn with a smile as he drank the milk. Paya smiled in return and poured one for himself. They both drank it in silence. That was when Paya's eyes stumbled upon the book on the table. He picked it up to see the title, Read For You Who Are Afraid of Changing for Your Whole Life by mentalist Daigo. Noticing that Paya was interested in that book, Tarn averted his attention from the milk glass and described, Timor gave me this book to pass the time. I read it and found it was such a good read. Paya stared at Tarn.
From Timor.
Yep,
Interesting. Can I borrow it?
do you read books from this genre too? Isn't your life perfect enough, golden boy? Paya gave a slight nod.
Some.
When will you borrow it? Can you give me 3 days to finish reading it and you borrow it later? He almost finished it.
I'll borrow it today. I'll give it back tomorrow.
You can read that fast? Paya gave a nod of affirmation. Tarn nodded to reply and didn't think much about it. A clever dude like Paya should finish it in a few hours, indeed. Tarn chugged the milk in one go, then turned around to look at the wall clock. It's nearly 7 now. You want to go back home or take a shower in my room and go to work together?
I'll shower here.
If he got home and drove off to work, he would come to work late and get lashed by Captain like Tarn for sure. You go first.
Hmm. And should I use the guest shower room or the one in your bedroom?
The one in my bedroom. Haya tipped his head in acknowledgement and instantly strode into Tarn's room. If he wasted more time, he would be late. Tarn saw Paya walk inside and then looked at the empty plates on the table. So it had to be him to clean up. If only he knew it, he should have let Paya shower later. Tarn thought in regret before standing up to collect the plate and wash it in the kitchen.
Darn. Darn. Asshole darn.
What on earth was he calling for? Tarn hurriedly washed the second plate with the water, placed it on the grate, and then headed to wipe his hand with the cloth hanging at the fridge before entering the bedroom. He found Paya holding the door with his head stuck out from the bathroom. What?
Towel.
Why don't you grab it yourself? What's so shy about? Tarn grumbled while making his way to get a towel in the wardrobe for Paya. When he swiveled back, Holy shit! Tarn shrieked. His jaw dropped. watching Paya walk out of the bathroom in a birthday suit. His shapely, robust figure walked daintily toward him shamelessly. That was when Tarn noticed Paya tattooed his own nickname on the left groin, and when exploring a little higher, that's Paya raised his eyebrow, looking at Tarn mischievously. He reached out to take a towel from Tarn's hand and chuckled down his throat in satisfaction to see Tarn's aghast expression.
Amazed? That's huge, right?
Paya asked in a sultry voice while toweling all over himself. Once Tarn regained his consciousness, he chinned up and spoke. Not quite.
That's insulting. Actually, that's because it wasn't in a boner size yet. But what if it was? Imagine how huge it would be. Do you think so?
Paya inched toward, asking Tarn teasingly, so close that two noses almost touched. Tarn couldn't help picturing along with Paya's words, but after realizing that was one forbidden thought, he retreated and stuttered. That's your business. Back off. I'm taking a shower. Tarn said while pushing Paya to get out of his way, quickly plunging onto the shower room. Paya let out a husky laugh, feeling pleased that he could tease Tarn. Why so shy? Those ears reddened.
Tarn, why don't you bring the towel? Or you wanna compare your size with mine?
Paya shouted a question, remembering that his homie didn't bring the towel to the shower room. Tarn yanked the door and stared at Paya in a disgruntling way before snatching the towel in front of the wardrobe. He went back to the bathroom without looking at him. Paya watched Tarn's back and shook his head. What's wrong with him? They bathed together many times when they were in training. Why shy now? But when thinking it over, he had his trunks on back then, unlike this time, so he found it understandable that Tarn would feel bashful to see his true self. He couldn't help it. That was what a rare find item looks like. After showering and getting dressed, Tarn and Paya took the elevator down together. Seeing the other person kept adjusting his pants, Tarn asked, What's happening? The pants are too tight?
Hmm, too tight.
Because the jeans Paya was wearing now belonged to Tarn. They were too small around the thigh. He was somewhat afraid that they would tear apart. Or do you want to get changed? Asked Tarn with concern. It took quite some time for Paya to squeeze his legs into those jeans, even though he and Paya weren't much different in body size. Why, when Paya was in his pants, they were so tight like that.
That's okay. I'll go change them during lunchtime.
Paya faced up to Tarn. Once they arrived at the parking lot, Paya drew his face closer and whispered in Tarn's ear.
It might be because my thing is bigger than yours. That's why the pants are too tight.
Tarn's eyebrows twitched. He viciously glared at Paya. Get lost in your car and take good care of my book. Oi, why keep harping on your size? That picture popped into my head. Paya laughed as he watched Tarn from the back hopping in the car with a face flushed red. After seeing the other person drive away, Paya boarded his own vehicle and drove behind. On the road, he picked up a wireless small talk, plugging it in his ear, then pressed call to his sister. Shortly after, Parani picked up the phone. What's up, my dear brother? You went out to work so early without taking a shower. What's the hurry?
I was out to see my friend. I took a shower in his room already. No need to worry.
What brings you to call me anyway?
I want you to buy a book for me.
What book?
I'll send you the picture. Please buy it for me today.
Sure, no problem.
Alright, thank you, my dear sis.
Yes, bro, got to go. I need to start my shop.
Yes, see you at home.
Alright, bro. Beep. After his sister hung up, Haya picked up that book to read and then tossed it in the back seat without caring if it would be torn apart. He wasn't keen to read it like he had shown to Tarn, just wanted to take it and change something. PSI department. Tarn and Paya arrived at the department almost simultaneously, so the two walked into the office together. Once everybody saw both of them entering the office along with one another, Cam addressed them.
Didn't you two have a fight yesterday?
But today, they clearly strode into the office side by side, or they had already patched things up. Yai, who was chewing his pen, squinted his eyes on Paya's trousers and questioned in a neutral tone.
Kaya, you wearing Tarn's jeans?
Singh lifted his gaze, adjusting his eyeglasses to take a look at Paya's trousers concurrently. Why is Mr. Paya wearing Mr. Tarn's jeans? Cam bit his hand. Or you too. Cam's other empty hand pointed at them both alternately. Don't tell me that the reason behind the making amend was. Tarn raised his hand to restrain like a Buddha image. Stop, your guys through thought already. It's not what you think.
What? Didn't think of anything.
Cam objected in an arch voice. You're the worst here, Cam. Tarn hit Cam on the arm. Cam stroked it back and forth, but didn't argue. Instead, he laughed mischievously.
So, why are you in Tarn's jeans, Paya?
Tong Tai faced up to ask. Cam added.
Even Tongkai's curious about it.
Haya looked at everyone and shook his head.
Tarn and I made peace this morning, and I didn't bring my clothes. I was afraid I would come to work late, so I showered in Tarn's room and wear his clothes. That's all.
Cam approached to sniff Tarn's smell, then switched to sniff Haya's.
Hmm, exactly the same smell.
Tarn hit Cam again. Stop snooping in my business, will you? The more Cam talked, the more that memory in the morning sprang to mind. Yai saw Tarn's and Haya's demeanor. He cut short.
Enough, enough. Stop probing them. It's good that you two made peace. And you, Paya, want to change into the trousers in my car?
Yai offered in goodwill. Haya dipped his head.
Good, bro. I'm afraid I will rip Tarn's jeans as well. You guys are almost the same size. But why?
Cam, you bastard! Yai led Haya to his car, no longer caring about the quarrel noises between Cam and Tarn. When they returned, the room was filled with serious air. Haya and Yai traded their gaze, full of doubt.
What are you all doing?
Haya asked as he saw Captain Ajima holding something in her hand as well as everyone else. Good. You two arrived. Pick up the two scrolls on the table, said Ajima. Haya did what he was told. So did Yai. All right, unfold it. Once she finished her statement, everybody instantly rolled out the parchment in their hands. After Cam read his pick, he arched a whining sound.
No way. Yes.
Sing threw a fist, then traded a high five with Dong Tai, with a blank parchment just like his. Yai flipped his blank paper toward the other.
What does this mean?
Nothing was written on the paper.
It means you don't need to make a case closure report about the brutal murder of the rapist.
Cam moaned because he was chosen to be responsible for doing a report. Yai laughed to himself. That was great. How lucky he was.
Don't worry, Mr. Kem. We'll help you.
Singh patted Cam's shoulder. Tong Tai voiced peacefully.
Help giving orders. Just do nothing, mate. Thanks.
And goodbye growled, only to go to his own desk. Would he finish it by today? Hajima turned her gaze toward Paya and Tarn. It means you have the exhibition event like I do,
What exhibition?
Paya asked confusingly. My father's acquaintance event. He's afraid that his artwork will be stolen. That's why he hired us as the guards. Kaya furrowed his eyebrows.
That's not our duty.
Hajima looked at Paya with pleading eyes. I don't really want to do it either, but I was asked for a favor. Since both of you were picked by those lots, please team up with me. She rapidly blinked.
If you don't go, can I go instead, Paya? We trade our duties.
Kim offered. Paya crossed his arms.
What for? To go to the exhibition is definitely better than doing a report.
You, Pete, you wicked friend. You guys are cleverer than me. Why don't you do it? Why must it be me? Kim thought in resentment, even though he could do nothing more but keep on typing. So, you guys go to the exhibition with me. See you at 7 p.m. tonight. Here are the invitation cards. Ajima handed them to Tarn and Paya each. Tarn received the card and asked, What's the dress code? Black tie, okay? Tarn nodded in acknowledgement and shifted his gaze to Paya. Paya looked back at him in the eye and nodded in response, knowing their fate. This event must be clustered with VIPs. Sigh. They totally loathed encountering these people. The 23rd White Podge exhibition at 1900. The exhibition was arranged by a famous artist who created paintings for several personages. Thus, the event was full of elites, moneyed people wearing jewelry and elegant evening dresses, appreciating the paintings. Kaya and Tarn followed closely after Jima, assigning security guards to position in each area according to the exhibition floor plan. After distributing the assignment, they both acting chiefs of the collaborating team separated themselves to observe the guests in the exhibition. Kaya skimmed through the visitors as he viewed the paintings on the wall. The young man stopped at his feet in front of an exhibited artwork. It was a picture of white lotuses with a blue background. This picture captivated him, reminding him of the Satabut waterfall. Tarn Paya was fixated on that work of art. He situated himself beside Paya. Is it beautiful? It looked like a mundane picture, unlike the others he had seen in this exhibition. But why was Paya interested in this picture so much? Paya glanced at Tarn. His eyes suddenly spread open because the one standing next to him was Tarn in a female version, wearing an ancient attire from the Sukhothai era. She curled up a faint smile at him and looked away. Paya followed her sight and saw Darawan in the same ancient clothing as Tarn, in a girl's body. What is this? She's ravishing, isn't she? The inquirer's tone of voice was sad. Before Paya could answer anything, he was startled by Tarn's deep tone. Paya!
Huh?
Paya flinched and looked at Tarn's face in fright. After seeing the one beside him transform back to his actual self, he discreetly let out a sigh of relief. What's the matter? I called you many times, but you didn't respond. His demeanor was exactly the same in the morning. Want to take a rest? You don't look alright. Paya shook his head.
I'm okay. Just get dizzy by the perfumes.
You sure? You're not going to be blacked out in the event, right? It would be so embarrassing.
Nope.
Paya reiterated in a firm voice while discreetly glancing at Tarn's face. While Tarn was examining Paya to see if he was actually more unwell than what he said, two noble, middle-aged dames in a pink and red gown, respectively, walked in their way, stopping to discuss next to them. Sis, this is nothing near a small event, but the organizer is horrible. There's an awful smell in the event. Madam in pink said, What smell, sis? I couldn't smell anything. Madam in red questioned back, Smell as if something's dead. I do smell it. Madam in pink reaffirmed. Tarn approached them as he could feel something uncanny. Excuse me, madams. Do you know where the smell comes from? I'll look over it for you. Oh dear, who are you? Are you the organizer? Tarn shook his head. No, madam, I'm a guard overseeing security at this event. That's a relief. She thought that she was gossiping about them at close range. Follow this, sister. I'll take you there. Having a handsome man offering help, how could a mature lady like her refuse? Tarn smiled dryly at the pronoun she referred to herself, but he managed to follow the two ladies who kept making flirtatious expressions to him anyway. Tarn gazed back at Paya, asking through the eyes if he wouldn't follow. Paya signaled a hand gesture, pointing at the painting, moving his lips, saying he would buy it. Tarn nodded in acknowledgement and accompanied the two ladies. Here! It's where the smell comes from! This was the Lady Justice statue, a goddess with eyes blindfolded, holding balance scales in one hand, and another hand holding a sword pointing downward. End of chapter 13.